Do you think Living Single was just a fun sitcom? Think again, because the truth behind the screen will leave you speechless. The one once praised by the whole world turned out to be the one who fell the hardest. The one who seemed to have vanished has now become an A-list Hollywood star. And the one you once adored quietly left this world far too soon. This then and now journey will hold your eyes and your heart. Thank you for being part of the memories we all share. Queen Latifah, as Khadijah James. Queen Latifah was 23 years old when she joined Living Single in 1993 as Khadijah James, the magazine editor who was both the backbone and the brains of the entire group. She made audiences believe Khadijah was an unshakable woman who could face any challenge. But behind that confidence was a heart struggling not to break. Queen Latifah was born on March 18, 1970, in Newark, New Jersey. She loved Ebony Nichols with a love she had to hide for many years, afraid that if she ever revealed it, she would lose everything she had worked for. She longed for happiness but was forced to love in silence, in a relationship that could never be named. And every night, while viewers laughed at Khadijah on screen, Latifah silently wondered, when will I finally be allowed to live as myself? Latifah's strength was forged through unimaginable loss. In 1992, her brother died in a motorcycle accident, on the very bike she had bought him, a guilt she carried for the rest of her life. Then, in 2018, her mother, the last person who kept her grounded, passed away after years of heart failure. Those two blows tore her heart apart, plunging her into depression and endless sleepless nights. Today, Queen Latifah is 55 years old. She continues to act, produce, and serve as a powerful voice for both the Black and LGBTQ+ communities. Her net worth is estimated at around $70 million. But behind all that wealth stands a queen who has lost more than most to finally become herself. Steven Gilborn as Jeffrey Higgins. Steven Gilborn joined Living Single in 1993 at age 43, playing Jeffrey Higgins, a calm, thoughtful man whose presence brought warmth and wisdom to the younger characters around him. Yet few knew that the gentle teacher audiences loved would one day face the most painful battle of his life, one that would deny him a peaceful ending. Steven Gilborn was born on July 15, 1936, in New Rochelle, New York. His marriage to Karen Halverson was long and filled with love, but that same happiness made his fear of loss even more agonizing when illness struck. What terrified him most wasn't death itself. It was seeing the woman he loved cry, knowing there was nothing he could do to spare her pain. Cancer slowly began to strip away his strength, his voice, and finally his breath, leaving the man who had once commanded audiences lying quietly among machines and sterile tubes. The final months of his life were a test of endurance, a fight to hold on long enough for a few more precious moments with his family. But no miracle came. Steven Gilborn passed away on January 2, 2009, at his home in North Chatham, New York, at the age of 72. His net worth was estimated at around $1 million. Yet what he left behind was far more lasting. The memory of an artist who gave everything to his craft, and a teacher who continued to inspire others, even as his own light faded away. John Henton as Overton Wakefield Jones. In 1993, John Henton brought to life Overton Wakefield Jones, the clumsy yet kind-hearted handyman who became the warm, lovable soul of the group when he was 33 years old. The role made him a fan favorite for his sincerity and charm. But just as his star rose, life dealt him a devastating blow. John Henton was born on November 23, 1960, in Cleveland, Ohio. He once had a serious relationship and has a daughter named Nicole. Yet his personal life was far from easy. Financial stress, the loneliness of fame, and unexpected hardships made family happiness nearly impossible. The greatest tragedy struck in September 2000, a car accident that nearly cost him his life. He suffered broken legs, a shattered eye socket, lost several teeth, and had his face disfigured. Though he returned to set only 6 weeks later, his health was never the same. Years of surgeries, physical pain, and emotional trauma slowly pushed him away from the spotlight. Now, John Henton is 65 years old. He lives quietly, rarely appearing on television, spending his days with family and focusing on his health. With an estimated net worth of about $7 million, he enjoys a peaceful life with his daughter. And perhaps for him, that is all that truly matters. Kim Coles as Sinclair James Jones. Kim Coles joined Living Single in 1993 at the age of 31, playing Sinclair James Jones, the sweet, innocent woman who brought laughter and healing to her circle of friends. Viewers adored Sinclair for her pure heart and hopeful outlook on life. Yet ironically, the very woman who spread so much joy on screen endured some of the deepest wounds in love off it. Kim Coles was born on January 11, 1962 in Brooklyn, New York. Her first marriage was to Ayton Edwards, but 10 years together ended in heartbreak and pain, right as her career was reaching new heights but collided with domestic turmoil. She tried to believe in love once more when she married Reggie McIver, but her second marriage also ended in tears. 2 broken unions left her heart shattered in the very place she once thought was safe. After these emotionally draining separations, Kim faced loneliness, financial strain, and moments of severe psychological exhaustion. She suffered no life-threatening physical illness, but her emotional battles were equally brutal. Long nights spent wondering, do I still deserve to be loved? That question eventually led her to become a motivational speaker, using her pain as a way to heal herself and others who have been broken by love. In 2025, Kim Coles is 63 years old. She continues to give talks and write books to help others rediscover hope after heartbreak. With an estimated net worth of $3 million, she lives comfortably. Yet for a heart once shattered, sometimes all the wealth in the world can't replace a hug at the right moment. T.C. Carson as Kyle Barker. T.C. Carson was 35 years old when he took on the role of Kyle Barker, the suave, intelligent, and magnetic man who became one of the defining symbols of Living Single in 1993. He embodied success and confidence, but behind that polished exterior was a quiet pain few ever saw. T.C. Carson was born on November 19, 1958, in Chicago, Illinois. In his personal life, he never found a lasting partner, living without a family to return to after the lights dimmed. At every event, he smiled that signature Kyle Barker smile. But inside was a void that no applause could fill. His greatest struggle came not from love, but from the career that once defined him. After being written out of Living Single due to conflicts with the production team, Carson almost disappeared from television altogether. Financial pressure grew as job offers slowed to a trickle. The career he once believed would soar suddenly lost its wings. In the years that followed, he poured his heart into singing and voice acting, clinging to the creative life he had devoted everything to. Today, T.C. Carson is 67 years old. He still performs and lends his voice to films and video games, continuing to live for his craft. His estimated net worth is about $3 million. Modest compared to what he's contributed to entertainment, but enough to let him keep creating in a world that once pushed him aside. Erika Alexander as Maxine Felice Shaw. Erika Alexander appeared in Living Single, 1993, as Maxine Shaw, the sharp-tongued, fearless attorney who never backed down from anyone when she was only 24 years old. Maxine was the group's voice of logic and defiance, a woman who hid her vulnerability behind layers of confidence. Yet just when the world believed Maxine could never fall, Erika herself was fighting to keep her life from collapsing. Erika Alexander was born on November 19, 1969, in Winslow, Arizona. She married screenwriter Tony Puryear in 1997, and after 2 decades together, their marriage ended amicably. To the public, it seemed peaceful, But behind closed doors, she was struggling to balance love and ambition, realizing painfully that she couldn't have both. She later admitted that her success often came at the cost of silence and loneliness within her marriage. Though no physical illness attacked her body, Erika's emotional battles never truly ceased. As an actress, screenwriter, producer, and social activist, she carried more roles than anyone should, often pushing herself to exhaustion. To survive, she turned her pain into art, transforming heartbreak into words, scripts, and creative projects that became her therapy and her way to heal invisible wounds. By 2025, Erika Alexander is 56 years old. She continues producing documentaries, writing stories, and using her platform to defend marginalized voices. Her estimated net worth is around $3 million. Not a fortune for a trailblazing black icon, but enough for her to keep walking the path her heart chose, even when that path was paved with tears. Kim Fields, as Regine Hunter. Kim Fields joined Living Single in 1993 at age 24, portraying Regine Hunter, the stylish, ambitious, and status-obsessed woman who always dreamed of a more glamorous life. Regine brought sharp humor to the show, but few knew that Kim Fields, behind the scenes, had to learn how to smile through her own painful heartbreaks. Kim Fields was born on May 12, 1969, in New York City. She entered her first marriage with Jonathan Freeman in 1995, but just as her directing career began to flourish, her home life unraveled. Hoping for love again, she later married Christopher Morgan. Yet motherhood and marriage brought their own challenges. Balancing family and a career that constantly demanded her shine took a toll on her spirit. Every bit of success came with a hidden cost that outsiders rarely saw. Kim has spoken openly about her struggles with emotional exhaustion, the heavy burden of responsibility, and the fear of fading into the background while prioritizing her children. It wasn't illness that drained her strength. It was the inner battle between the artist who longed for the spotlight and the mother who needed to hold her family together. Every time she stepped on stage, she hid her fatigue behind a radiant, professional smile. Now, Kim Fields is 56 years old. She continues to direct, act on television, and raise her two sons, a role she calls the most important of her life. Her estimated net worth is around $8 million, but for her, true wealth lies in the stability of the family she once nearly lost. Chip Fields as Laverne Hunter. In 1993, Chip Fields appeared in Living Single as Laverne Hunter, the mother who pushed her daughter toward success but often suffocated her with expectations when she was 42 years old. The role made audiences laugh, yet everyone could feel the underlying tension of a mother terrified that her child might fail in a ruthless world, a fear Chip knew all too well in real life. Born on August 5, 1951, Chip Fields built a stable marriage, but raising two daughters, especially Kim Fields, in the unpredictable entertainment industry stretched her heart to its limits. Each time her daughter stepped on stage, Chip feared that the glittering lights would steal away her innocence and youth. She had to learn one of motherhood's hardest lessons: how to protect without smothering, and how to let her child fall without breaking herself. Though she never suffered a life-threatening illness, the mental weight of her career and her role as a guiding force often pushed her close to exhaustion. Balancing the identities of actress, director, and mentor, she advanced carefully, always fearing that one misstep could undo years of sacrifice and hard work for her entire family. By 2025, Chip Fields is 74 years old. She continues to direct and coach actors, comforted by the sight of her daughter thriving through her own talent. Her net worth is estimated at around $1 million. But what she treasures most isn't the money. It's that she kept her family intact and unbroken under the blinding glare of fame. Mel Jackson as Ira Lee. Trip Williams. Mel Jackson was 27 years old when he played Trip, the handsome, ambitious writer always trying to prove his worth within the group in Living Single from 1997 to 1998. Though his character appeared late in the series, Tripp quickly became a charming new piece of the ensemble, leaving a strong impression on fans of the show. Mel Jackson was born on October 13, 1970, in Chicago. When it comes to his personal life, he has kept it almost entirely private, but past failed relationships once forced him to question the loneliness that hides behind the spotlight. Love does not always favor artists, and there were times he had to accept that fame could never fill the emptiness of a weary heart. Though Mel's career included several notable roles, it never truly exploded. After some early success, he entered a difficult period as opportunities gradually faded. There was no life-threatening illness, but the fall of a once promising career was its own kind of pain, when talent remains, yet the world no longer makes room for it. Today, Mel Jackson is 55 years old, still persistently working in smaller film and television projects. His net worth is estimated at around $1 million. Modest for someone once considered a rising star, but it stands as the price of never abandoning the dream of being an artist. Heavy D as Daryl. Heavy D was 27 years old when he played Daryl, the cheerful, warm-hearted man whose presence always made everyone feel protected in Living Single. He brought positivity and charm to every scene, and audiences believed that, off-screen, he was just as radiant and full of life. Born on May 24, 1967, Heavy D's career was nothing short of legendary. He was the heartbeat of Heavy D and the Boys, the first hip-hop group signed to Uptown Records, a milestone that brought street music closer to mainstream audiences. His collaborations included hits with Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, and his voice even opened the theme for In Living Color. Beyond performing, he produced, mentored new talent, and made history as one of the few rappers to become an executive, serving as president of Uptown Records. But tragedy struck on November 8, 2011. After a long flight home from England, he suddenly collapsed on a Beverly Hills street. A blood clot from his leg had traveled to his lungs, cutting his life short at just 44 years old. The man who had been a source of boundless energy left the world at the very moment he seemed to be shining again. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $7 million, but what endures far beyond the numbers is his musical legacy and the love he left in the hearts of millions of fans around the world. Bobby Hosea as Lawrence. At 38 years old, Bobby Hosea appeared in Living Single, portraying Lawrence, a strong, straightforward man whose maturity added a grounding energy to the group. Yet few realized that in real life, Bobby's strength extended far beyond the screen, forged through life's toughest battles. Born on December 5, 1955 in Tennessee, Bobby found his forever love in high school and later married Marcia Hairston, with whom he had 2 children. But the demands of his dual careers, sports and acting, often kept him away from home, creating emotional distance that strained their marriage. Transitioning from professional football to acting was not easy. He often found himself torn between family responsibilities and the artistic dream he couldn't let go of. Years of intense athletic training and collisions on the field took a lasting toll on his body. Old injuries and chronic fatigue eventually forced him away from the spotlight. Channeling that pain into purpose, he dedicated himself to teaching young athletes safe tackling techniques, hoping to prevent them from suffering the same physical consequences he endured. Now, Bobby Hosea is 69 years old, still leading youth training programs focused on safety and health in sports, helping the next generation avoid the mistakes that cost him dearly. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, a modest figure, but his real wealth lies in a life lived with integrity and a mission to protect the dreams of others just like the one he once chased. Bumper Robinson as Dorian Haywood and Ivan Ennis. Bumper Robinson joined Living Single, playing Ivan Ennis, the intelligent yet mysterious young man who brought unexpected twists to the group's lives when he was 22 years old. Though not a main character throughout the show, Each of his appearances left a strong impression thanks to his natural, charismatic performances. Larry "Bumper" Robinson was born on June 19, 1974, in Cleveland, Ohio. He married and had 2 children, but constant travel between film sets and recording studios put pressure on his marriage. His success in voice acting brought him recognition, yet it also left him with the strange feeling of being heard but not seen. A unique kind of isolation known only to artists who work behind the curtain. While Bumper's physical health has remained strong, his emotional struggles have often been more silent than any villain he has voiced. Despite playing legendary roles like Bumblebee, Falcon, and Cyborg, he has faced the harsh truth that fame doesn't always guarantee stability, leaving him torn between his passion for the craft and the worries of providing for his family. Today, Bumper Robinson is 51 years old. He continues to voice major characters for top franchises while dedicating much of his time to raising his 2 young children. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, not a fortune for the man whose voice shaped the childhoods of millions, but enough to keep alive the dream of a quiet, devoted artist. Miguel A. Nunez Jr. as Goldie. At 29 years old, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. played Goldie, a quick-witted, charming man who could turn any problem into a punchline in Living Single in 1993. Though his role was brief, audiences still remember the humor and charisma he brought to the series. Born on August 11, 1959, in New York City, Miguel found rare stability in Hollywood through his marriage to Yolanda Simon, whom he wed in 1994. Their union, still strong decades later, gave him a grounding many actors never experience. Yet stability didn't mean a life without struggle. During the years when his career faltered, it wasn't fame that kept him going, but the sight of his 2 daughters running to hug him whenever silence lingered too long after another disappointment. He has not faced any life-threatening illness, but for years he has battled something equally cruel: being forgotten. Once a familiar face in the 90s film and television, Miguel gradually faded from major projects. In an industry as relentless as Hollywood, that kind of silence can kill an actor's spirit faster than any disease. By 2025, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. is 61 years old. He continues acting when opportunities arise and has shifted his focus toward producing to preserve his place in the business. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, a modest sum compared to his prime years, but proof that he has endured in an industry that replaces people without hesitation. Khalil Kaine as Keith. Khalil Kaine appeared in Living Single in 1993, portraying Keith, a mysterious and magnetic man whose presence always sparked tension and curiosity when he was 29 years old. Though he didn't appear often, every scene he was in carried an intensity that drew the audience in. Khalil was born on November 22, 1964, in New York City. He married Elise Lyon, and together they have 2 children. But to build the family he cherishes today, Khalil had to navigate the heavy pressures of balancing fatherhood with an unpredictable acting career. Endless travel and uncertain contracts often left him wondering if success was worth the risk of losing what truly mattered. While he has never faced physical illness, the quiet anxiety of fading relevance has followed him for years. Once a sought-after name after standout performances in Juice and Bones, Khalil gradually transitioned behind the camera, directing and producing not because he gave up on the spotlight, but because the spotlight had stopped calling his name. Currently, Khalil Kaine is 60 years old. He continues to create films, teach martial arts, and develop independent artistic projects, finding peace in creating value rather than chasing fame. His net worth is estimated at around $5 million, enough to protect his family and prove that he has fought and continues to fight with everything he has. Isaiah Washington as Dr. Charles Roberts. Isaiah Washington appeared in Living Single at the age of 30, portraying Dr. Charles Roberts, a strong, magnetic doctor whose timely entrances always left the female characters swooning. Yet behind that confident smile on screen was a man enduring a series of painful stumbles beneath Hollywood's dazzling lights. Born on August 3, 1963, in Houston, Texas, Isaiah suffered an unimaginable loss early in life. His father was murdered when he was only 13 years old. That trauma followed him into adulthood, shaping a temperament both resilient and explosive. His career soared to extraordinary heights with Grey's Anatomy, but collapsed overnight after accusations of using discriminatory language. One of television's brightest stars suddenly became an outcast. When Hollywood turned its back, old wounds reopened, leaving Isaiah not with cinematic loneliness, but the real kind that settles deep within a once fearless heart. The professional downfall forced him to step away from fame and face depression, public scrutiny, and self-doubt. He began again from scratch, taking small supporting roles, cooking on TV, and eventually directing his own films in an effort to preserve what pride remained. Every new step was a declaration that he still existed, even when Hollywood had tried to bury the name Isaiah Washington. Now, Isaiah Washington is 62 years old, still working tirelessly as an actor, director, and humanitarian. He remains deeply involved in community projects and charity work in Sierra Leone, where he was honored as a tribal chief and granted citizenship for his humanitarian contributions. His estimated net worth is around $4 million. Through his role as Dr. Charles Roberts in Living Single, he left the mark of a passionate, unpredictable man, mirroring the turbulent, defiant, and deeply human journey of his own life. Looking back on more than 3 decades, we realize that the lives of these living single actors have been even more dramatic than the show itself. Which of their stories surprised or moved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next behind-the-scenes story.